The Terror of the Midnight Robber is a comic book series based in Trinidad and Tobago, whose main characters are based off Trinidadian folklore, such as the Lagawhoo, a chain-carrying shapeshifter capable of changing its size instantly; the Buck, a creature of small stature with sharp teeth and claws, versed in the art of black magic; Papa Bois, half man, half beast, protector of the forest and its kin. Our story follows Rick Ramses, who, upon being abandoned and near death, stumbled into the cave of the ancient spirit of the Midnight Robber, granting him new life in exchange for his body as a host to return to our mortal plane of existence. Created by brothers Christopher and Wendell Riley of Three-Quarter Comics, whose hard work and dedication to the industry has led them to produce work for companies such as Disney and Marvel Studios. The Terror of the Midnight Robber truly looks, feels, and reads as though it belongs in every comic book store in the world, while staying true to its Trinidadian culture. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the South Central Podcast. I am your host, Ron Austin, and on today's episode, we are joined by Three-Quarter Comics' very own, the creators of the Terror of the Midnight Robber comic book series, Mr. Christopher and Wendell Riley. Good afternoon, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today.
Good afternoon, Ron. Pleasure to be here.
Good afternoon. Great to be here.
Now, I cannot even begin to tell you all how proud I was as a Trinidadian to read The Terror of the Midnight Robber, especially as somebody who played the Midnight Robber in secondary school. To see the character brought to life on a comic was amazing. And especially coming from Trinidad, where it has so much different cultures and different type of people blending. My first question for you all to kick off the interview is, what type of research did you need to do in order to even start to develop this? Like, what characters you needed to study, what history you needed to read up on?
All right. That's pretty funny because I did absolutely zero. I just, growing up, I knew carnival characters, and really no research was done for the book. I was just, the first book how it was done, I just drew all the pages, right? And then I asked Wendell and another friend of mine to write words to make it a story. So there really was no research as far as, the Midnight Robber character as such. I just knew he was a cowboy, guns, cool hat, cape. That was it, basically. That was the extent of the research, really,
In that case, I'd ask you, what make you pick the Midnight Robber? Because we have other characters that could transform, we have people who could go set on fire, we have a big snake.
Right, that's a good question. And the Midnight Robber, only because, I didn't want to do the Terror of the Fancy Sailor. That would not have been too cool, I don't think.
If the beleaguered writer could jump in here for a little bit.
Sure, go ahead, man.
Over the years, there has been a lot of research done. But to Chris's point, in Trinidad, you can't help but grow up and be surrounded by culture. And I think that's one of the things that we wanted to continue. Obviously, the oral tradition is big in Trinidad and Tobago, and you would hear stories. Like, we grew up, with our grandmother, our grandparents on both sides would tell us, the Dwen and the Lagawhoo and Laja Bless and all of those. Obviously, the Midnight Robber comes from a different aspect of our culture in Carnival, but we grew up in Port of Spain, and because of that, Carnival literally would go by our doorstep, right? Like, you could walk out our front door and watch Old Mass pass by, Pretty Mass, everything. I remember seeing Minshall, the old costumes that Minshall used to do, Man Crab and stuff like that. And that thing is just, it kind of melted our brains, you know what I mean?
It kind of cement the culture in your brain.
The thing is that, Chris is the one who came up with the idea for the comic, but we grew up on superheroes, obviously. We grew up reading comics. We grew up on movies, all kinds of horror and sci-fi and stuff like that. So to me, it wasn't surprising when Chris was doing this thing. And basically, he's like, here's half of an issue. Write some words, literally, because that's how Chris talks, right? He's like, I need words. Yeah, makes sense to this. Yeah.
Chris, I had a question for you. You wrote The Terror of the Midnight Robber while you were in college, correct?
Okay, so that was done. So, all right. So I went to Woodbrook Government Secondary School, and after that, I got a job in the sign industry for a few years, and then I went to New Jersey. There's a school there, the Joe Kubert School of Cartoon Graphics and Animation. I went there for 2 years. And I believe when I came back from Joke Tube, but I might have been maybe 26 or 27. I'm not too sure.
Right.
And I went back into the advertising signage thing, and it was then I decided that I want to do a comic. Before then, I didn't have any ideas of making my own books. I wanted to do the thing, work at Marvel and draw, the American superheroes and stuff. But that didn't pan out too good. Not that it didn't pan out too good. I actually I met with some editors at Marvel, I believe, and again, it was pretty promising, and I had done some assistant inking work with one of my teachers at Joke Cubert at the time.
All right. And how was that?
So, yeah, that was actually cool, man. I got to work on
Ghost Rider, I think it was.
Yeah, Ghost Rider,
and Ghost Rider,
Cable, Ghost Rider and Cable were two of the books.
And Cable.
Cable, yeah. Those are books that I wait. Don't get excited because I had to ink the boring stuff like chairs and guns and that kind of
No, but I mean, like you'll realize throughout this interview that Chris will just be like, "Yeah, I just did that, and it was no big deal." So, but that's a big deal. Like for young comic fans in Trinidad, like that's a huge deal.
Work that you put down, appear on our whole Marvel ship, that's inspiration to all us Trinidadians.
Yes, man. Guns on background.
Even if it's a chair, I could sign up and say this chair was drawn by a Trinidadian.
Correct.
All right. Yeah. So I really didn't. Yeah. So it was when I came back here, I was working on stuff that I came up with the idea of using the Midnight Robber to create a comic. And the inspiration for the actual character, I mean, besides the Midnight Robber, one of the big inspirations for it was the Phantom comic strip, Lee Falk, right? I never actually read the comic strip, but I used to see it in the Sunday papers and the dailies and that kind of thing. At the time, I was reading like Punisher and Captain America. Those were two of my favorite books. So, you'd find a lot of that stuff in the books. It's pretty violent and gritty type thing. The horror elements come from, we had an uncle who used to collect comics, and he used to collect like horror comics. Eerie and creepy were comics in the 70s. They were black and whites, but they were, real horror themed books. And those were like some of my favorite books, growing up. And again, that's one of the reasons why the Midnight Robber is printed in black and white, because I really like the black and white.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Is that right?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I like the black and white, style, I guess, or how it looks. Yeah, I like black and white.
Now, with that being said, I have to ask: is the Midnight Robber an anti-hero?
I'll let Wendell take this one.
I would say right? It began as an anti-hero, for sure.
Right.
But as you will see in subsequent issues, and actually the issue that we're working on right now, it is much more than that. And it has a much more sinister purpose than just looking cool and blowing up shit.
I believe we got a little bit of hint of that in issue number 5.
Yeah. So now we're starting to see kind of the plan unfolding. The first few issues really were about sort of establishing characters and kind of grounding everybody in. So it was important for us to always continue to make it relevant to Trinidad. Like, the cool thing is for a reader to be able to just say, "Hey, that's Salvatore Building. Hey, that's downtown Port of Spain." Because again, it's always important for readers to feel like this is something that belongs to them, right? It belongs to all of us in Trinidad and Tobago. And now that we've gotten all that out of the way, you'll see much more about like what the Robber's actual plan is. So I wouldn't actually refer to the Robber as an anti-hero. I wouldn't even categorize it just yet. But I think at the end of the day,
what he becomes.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the idea to put the Lagawhoo on that pillar, chained with the skull screaming no. Oh my God, that one panel. Oh, yeah. I had to I flipped back and was like, I just want to just watch this panel for a little bit. If I could frame it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so all right. So this is to give you a little insight into the process, right? So that's where the the marriage of script and art really comes together. And I'll just say a few words on this and I'll let Chris talk about it because for me as a writer, and because I know Chris, we grew up together, we're very close. Like I know the stuff he likes, he knows the stuff I like. But I try as much as possible whenever I write a script to give him the opportunity to have fun with stuff, right? And like there's stuff that I always want to see him draw because it's my older brother and I like to see certain things. I like when he just like goes crazy with certain themes and stuff like that. So I don't even know if the script actually said that there were skulls in the pillar or any of that detail. I just basically said that it was probably something as simple as the Lagawhoo who's now chained and captured in the ghost yard. And then, however long later, Chris came back and he was like, all right, well, this is a page. I was like, oh, all right.
He was like, "Yep, this is what this is what we're talking about."
Yeah.
Well, I actually do not remember what the script said, and I don't know. All right, so I could probably tell you how that came about. That Pillar of Skulls. I play lots of video games, and that was actually inspired by, I think it might be the Scorpion level from Mortal Kombat 2 or 3, one of them. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's excellent. That's an excellent place to draw that.
So that's probably where that came from. Yeah, because I was really big into. I still like Mortal Kombat. I can't play very well now, but yeah. So I draw inspiration from man, all things, man. Music, video games, comic books, manga. Anime. American cartoons. Pretty much everything. Films, foreign, Japanese, American. Yeah, man, I watch all kinds of stuff. When I have the time, of course. Because I can't spend all my time watching TV and reading comics, right?
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'll see, like, even in terms of a story as well, like the Lagawhoo in particular. I mean, it's kind of a shameless ripoff of Candyman, which was a horror film that came out in the early 90s. Tony Todd, based on a Clive Barker short story or novella. And Barker was a big inspiration for us. I mean, Chris had a Cabal book before Nightbreed, before it was made into the film Nightbreed. And we had Candyman, even though it wasn't one of my favorite films growing up, it was still cool to see a black antagonist, right? And he actually starts. You figure out during the film that he was a protagonist that turned into an antagonist. Yeah, because he was just an artist who fell in love with the wrong person, and then they basically tortured him and killed him. And I always liked that theme of someone who's misunderstood for his culture, and I think that's something that resonates particularly with a multicultural society like Trinidad and Tobago. So like that story came from that, and you'll see you could probably point to those, as Chris mentioned, a ton of those little influences here and there. You'll see them all through the books because we are nerds. We always have been, always will be.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Him?
Chris, he would he names the issues. Like I don't bother naming the issues. I just write the script and give it to him. And then he would name like some Megadeth line or some name or some Megadeth song. I don't listen to Megadeth. That was more like Guns N' Roses and Pearl Jam and thing. But but it's just like we just like to throw in stuff that we like, and we just kind of put it in our blender and spit it back out. Which to me is what Trinidadians do culturally anyway, because we take from all over the world and we make our own special sauce and something unique and amazing comes out of it, And that starts Carnival all the way up to Trinidadian music and now Trinidadian films and books and exactly.
This one is from the fans, so and I really don't mean to put you all on the spot at all, but I have to ask, gentlemen, when can we expect issues number 6?
So issue number 6 is actually being worked on right now. Had a couple of setbacks, but we're looking. I'm looking at at December of this year, if things go as I plan, which doesn't actually work out all the time. So I'm about maybe about a third through penciling. Actually, no, wait. I got like 8 pages pencil and ink already. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, look at that, man. Yeah. I have about 8 pages pencil and ink
Yeah.
already. So those are the boring pages and they're painful to work on right now, man. Oh, jeez. Wendell, damn, man.
Exposition. You need exposition. Can't
Yeah.
always be action.
So yeah. We're looking at December for release of this one. The cover is already done. Maybe within the
Right.
next couple of months or so, we'll release the cover so that you all could see that we're actually doing stuff and not sitting down on our hands doing nothing. Maybe we'll release a few pages, online again to let you all know that things are being worked on, but we are working on it right now.
Okay, great. And for the listeners out there, when the issue does drop, where can it be purchased?
All right, we're working on that too. So we're in the process of actually building an online store. So again, it's just me sitting on my butt scratch. Well, not really, man. I'm just really busy and I have not had the time to complete the process. The process has already started, but the company 3/4 comics just being 2 dudes. Yeah,
And I completely understand all projects.
A little while. Yeah, it takes a little while to get the stuff done. But yeah, we'll probably have the online store, up and running by then. And yeah, you could get it online.
Yeah, and of course you could always get it at local conventions because Chris is a fixture at conventions.
That's right. Yeah. Wherever they have any comic shows locally, I try to be at every one. I'm at most of them. Yeah.
That's real dedication to be at every convention, Jay.
Yeah, I try. Once they invite me, I'm there. I don't go crashing conventions to sell midnight rubber comics, right? So if you don't see me at one, it's because I was not asked to be there. All right, but I try. You could also go to our website, 3qconline.com, I think is the URL, and go to there's a page on there where you could ask questions, and there's also a phone number there. You could contact me through there via WhatsApp, and I will see how I can get books to you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And that link will definitely be in the description of the video as well for any of our listeners to check out.
Excellent.
And just an extra plug for, if you see Chris at a convention, you'll get your book signed, you could ask questions, you could see original art.
That's right.
So it's always an experience. It's not just like come to a table and buy a book and walk out.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons that I actually try to be at all the conventions that I'm invited to, because, when we start selling books online, you won't be able to come up and talk to me and ask me about the book and get your book signed and that kind of stuff, and that's why I try to be out there, because, it's not every day you get to meet the people that actually create the books that you read, which is why I do this, and I'll keep doing it as long as people keep buying the books. Yeah?
Yeah. Yep. And just a quick plug for the next issue. I'll give you all a little tease. Even in the boring pages that Chris talking about, the pages look like fantastic. It's like some of the best stuff in the series so far. And we will be introducing a new character. The Lagawhoo Bless will be there. I can't tell you anything else.
You don't know how excited I am now. As soon as December hit, I'm going to be messaging somebody's phone. I just let you all know that.
Yeah. So, but we we really keeping the local flavor going, and we'll keep adding more characters. This is important, and for us, if a new generation of kids and even adults read these books and it becomes a part of that fabric of our culture, then that's really humbling for us. That means the world to us, because oral traditions are not as vibrant as they used to be because of technology and stuff like that. And anytime we have an opportunity to add something that is tangible and something that people could share with each other, right? And make it a shared experience, then that's a job done for us. So just how you get excited hearing about a larger blessing a comic, that is that's inspiration for us, because that's the exact reason why we do it. Because, as Chris will always tell you, we don't need foreign characters in our comics. We have everything that we could ever need and more. in terms of characters that we could use, and obviously we take a lot of creative liberties with them, but we also try to ground it very much in the actual folklore. So like a Dwen, like our interpretation of a Dwen still very much matches the stories that you would hear, with the feet turned around and all that. And that stuff is scary enough without seeing Chris draw it, but then seeing it on a page, seeing a bunch of Dwens crawling out of a cave, that's
When
like,
Chris
wow.
Troy, then it really becomes scary. You're like, nah, not me and the bushmeat.
Well, that's good. That's good. Job accomplished. You're supposed to be afraid of dead babies, man.
So, as you all mentioned conventions, I have to ask, what are some of your favorite places to hold conventions in Trinidad and Tobago?
Man, these all the conventions that I've been to, I enjoy them. Yeah, I mean, it's just getting out there and meeting the fans. That's one of the biggest things, I think as a creator, the joy of fans, when they get to talk. Because again, you could come up to me at a convention and talk to me about anything, man. I mean, if I know what you're talking about, we could have a conversation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Midnight Robber Comics. I have fans come up and ask about video games and TV shows, and if I could recommend stuff, I can't recommend anything because I don't watch anything really new, But I'd ask them what they watch, and so yeah, man, you could just come up and just chat. You don't have to buy anything. Yeah, I'm always for a conversation. Yeah, it's just being out there and meeting the fans, talking to the fans. Find out what they like about the book, what they don't like. Yeah, because I have people come and tell me that they don't like this, they don't like that. So I'm like, all right, and I take it into consideration. Some, let me see, like book number 3, I think, which is, it was all penciled, right? And the reason, that one is where the Lagawhoo and Midnight Robber fight downtown. Most of that book is just pencils. The reason why that book was just all pencils is because a lot of people who read the first 2 books are like, your inks, they're not too good. And this was like fans saying this. And I was like, well, all right, well, let's try just pencils then. Right? And that's why that book was just all pencils. If you look at that book, there's no inking in that book.
Because even the frames with Leon, Chris, and stuff are pencil as well.
And
I was watching that.
It was just pencils because the fans are like, your inks kind of suck, guys. So it's like, all right, fine.
But as a creator, to take, that's really good, Chris, to be able to take criticism from your fans and even apply it to you.
Right. Well, the thing is that the fans, you all are the ones that keep me in business. If I don't listen to you, who am I going to listen to? Again, I'm going to keep making books if you all keep reading them. Once you all stop, then I'll stop. Because the fans are a big part of the book. Without you all, there is no book. Now,
speaking of the fans, are you all familiar with the application called Webtoons?
People have come to me and they've told me about that, but I know nothing of it.
Well, I use the application as well to read my comics as well, like on a digital. It's a little bit more accessible to us. Is there any plans to really bring the Midnight Robber onto a digital platform?
I've thought about it. Again, maybe when we get a little bit bigger and we have maybe 3 people in the company, we can probably do some more stuff. As just 2 guys right now, no plan.
And
really.
part of it too, I mean, in older versions of the website, we actually had like full issues online that we did experimentation with posting new pages every week. This was about a decade ago, but I will say that we're fairly old school when it comes to that. I mean, part of Chris might say differently, but like part of the experience for me is actually like holding a comic in my hand and feeling the texture of the paper. And I've tried online readers, and I'm just not a huge fan of it. And not to take anything away from it. I don't begrudge any fans who like to read their stuff digitally, but I mean, I literally just came from the comic shop. Like before I got on this phone, because man, there's just nothing like holding a comic in your hand. Still, for me, again, I mean, but that's me. I just old school in that respect, you know.
Yeah, so actually, right. So Wendell brought up something there that, yeah, so the issue number 5 of The Midnight Robber, the one with Papa Bois, that entire book was printed online for free before we actually printed the book. So yeah, people who were online at the time and know about our website actually read that entire book online, and then we printed it a few years after, I guess, we had published it online.
That was I like that issue a lot. But the Papa Bois stuff with Mommy and the Dwens, I think that's some of my favorite stuff.
But when did Dwen collect that kick
you mean
and fly across the
buck?
room?
No, that was the buck.
And Papa
That
was
was the buck. Yeah.
When the buck,
yeah.
thank you. When the buck collect, when the midnight robber points out the buck to Papa Bois, I was like, that's a day somebody gonna get.
That the reason why I like that issue is because you really start seeing kind of the mechanics of a plan in play. You know, like the robber really like he doing stuff. Like there's something going on under the surface that we don't quite know what yet. Yeah.
I want to know who's the voices.
Yeah. The ghost, yeah. Them voices. You don't want to mess with them voices, but the robber he has his agendas.
And I know you all had learned to draw comics a while back, a program. You all have any plans to really bring that back to? Because I know a few people interested in learning to even begin to start to learn to draw. You all have any plans to bring that?
So actually, again, this is me dragging my knuckles again. This year I will be teaching a class with Yui, and I've done it a few years before. Just I didn't have time, so it'll be a basic drawing course, but I do it using comics. Once I get information, I'll send it to you so you can put it out there. But yeah, that'll be during like maybe July, August. Right, it may start like late June, I think. I'm not too sure. I have to go through that paperwork. That's another thing on my desk for me to go through. But yeah, I'll be doing that this year, a basic drawing course. I think it might be about 12 weeks or so, maybe 3-hour sessions. Again, not too sure about the details, but yes, I will be doing it with UE. Is that what it's called now? I can't remember what they call it now. Continuing
education division. I can't remember either.
Yeah, something. Yeah, something else they call, but with you, I'll be doing the basic drawing course. I'll send you more information once I get it and I understand what it is I have to do. All right.
All right, I appreciate that very much, sir. And I know a lot of our fans would be, more than willing to come to the class and see where it is going on.
All right, great.
All right, so one thing, and you all mentioned with the younger generation to look into getting into. I need to, and there's a 2-part question. I need to put you on to another comic that's locally shown. This one is available on Webtoon. It is called Ordeal. The writer is Mr. Brent Bristol. His comic is also based in Trinidad. And if you all could even glimpse it coming off of this interview, I will be more than appreciative. It's a comic that I really try to support because much like the Midnight Robber, it is produced locally and it have like local scenes and local names, and you feel really attached to the Trinidadian culture while reading it. So I wanted to put you all onto that if you all don't mind.
Sweet, man. Thanks.
It's on Webtoons, you say?
Great.
That's where I'll find it? Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, we listen.
Thank you very much.
Like I actually don't live in Trinidad right now. I live in the States, and I worked in the animation industry for a while. Worked in documentary filmmaking for a while, and actually still working in documentary filmmaking. But one of the cool things for me, I sort of stay connected to the community. Like part of We Just Draw on Facebook, and I look at some of the stuff that the local kids are doing. And every once in a while, I would see somebody who's now like in their early 20s, and they drop like an image of Midnight Robber that they drew. And I'm like, wait, that's Robber. You know what I mean? So I get so excited when I see more Trinidadian men and women picking up the mantle and doing that stuff. Because again, I think there's room for more voices. There's room for more creatives, more points of view. So yeah, that's good stuff, man.
So what advice would you give to like the younger generation of illustrators who looking to follow in your footsteps?
Chris, you want to go first? I have lots of thoughts, man. There you go.
Yeah, just get better at at drawing or writing, or drawing and writing. A lot of times when I meet, the younger artists at convention, I look at their stuff and and I just give you pointers on improving. You really need to practice and get better at that. And then the other thing is, unless you're like Frank Miller or somebody like that, your writing's not going to be the best. The advice I usually give them is, find somebody who can write and help you out at least. Edit your stuff or help you, with story structure and that kind of thing. And again, if you meet me at conventions, most times I would, give you my number. You could send your stuff via WhatsApp, and I would review your stuff and, give you pointers on that kind of thing, But so just practice, man. Just keep practicing.
Yeah.
Because I see some kids bring some stuff to me and like, man, if they keep practicing, they're going to be better than I am, when they get to my age, man. There's some really impressive stuff out there, definitely.
I think I agree with everything Chris said. If you like to draw, just draw. If you like to write, just write. But look at, I will never profess to be an artist. I have always leaned towards writing. And when it comes to writing, what I always try to tell people is try to understand the mechanics of writing, understand the skill of it, and look at other people's work and try to deconstruct what it is they're actually doing. And once you start doing that constantly and consistently, you see patterns, you see techniques, and telling a story is not just like, well, somebody pick up a bottle and he pelts it and the end, right? Like there's intentionality specifically in like what characters do, how they develop, the types of situation you put them in. The other big thing I would say is find people that you trust who will not tell you your stuff is great every time you show it to them, right? Because you'll never get better if you only surround yourself with people who tell you how great you are. Okay? You have to be willing to put your work out there. And again, with people that you trust, people who respect you and who you respect. But you have to be willing to let people look at your work objectively and tell you things that sometimes you don't necessarily want to hear, right? But at the end of the day, if critique is such an important part of the creative process, and critique is predicated on trust, but is also predicated on knowing that it's not personal. It's just an attempt to make the work as good as it can be, And I think unfortunately a lot of creative people, they get pigeonholed into only wanting to hear the good stuff. They only want to hear how good they are. Right, right. And just like learning to give criticism effectively is a skill. Like that takes time, but learning to receive it as well is a skill, and that takes time. My thing is like when I write in, I always assume that my first draft is terrible. And that's fine. Like it's supposed to be terrible. It's supposed to be messy and have problems, but that sets you up for your second draft, your third draft, your fourth draft, And of course, I say that I look back at stuff that I wrote down, I'm like, man, who wrote that garbage? You know what I mean? I'm sure Chris will say the same thing about some of his art too. But that's natural, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you should be willing to be honest about yourself and your work, and you should continue to grow as an artist and a writer. Like, though, you're not gonna write the greatest thing ever early in your life. I mean, you might, but that's like 1 in a million. To me, you should be writing better than you wrote yesterday, and better than you wrote the day before, and so on and so on.
Wendell, I really have to ask you because this used to sit down directly in front of me for a few hours every day. As a young man, my little brother had the Disney Infinity playset. Is it true that you worked on Disney Infinity 2.0 Hero playset, the trailer for it? Because I watched that and that was amazing.
So I'll give you some props because you're probably the only person who has ever like directly asked me that. Yes. I didn't work on the trailer. We actually worked on the in-game cinematics for 2.0. So we did the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, the Avengers, that whole thing in the Avengers Tower.
Right?
We did uh Spider-Man, I think it was. Yeah, the Spidey and Venom stuff, and then some weird. Yeah, so the studio I worked for, we did the in-game cinematics for that for 2.0. We almost got 3.0, which had Star Wars in it, but we got underbid by
Right?
another studio, so they went with another studio.
Mhm.
But that was a really fun project because, um, and I don't want to get too into like the animation stuff, but Disney, they had all the rigs and everything ready. So they gave us just full packages of rigs. They gave us the script, and all we had to do was just
Mhm.
just animate and light it and stuff like that. And then we sent it back to them and they did the finishing. So it was a really fun project.
Now, when you say rigs, for some of our listeners who may not know what a rig is, what is a rig?
So 3D animation, if you think about the process, is like puppeteering, right? So when you have a character, you have to create the character
Mhm.
in a lot of studios use Maya, which is the studio. Right? So you create a 3D character and you give it articulation. So the fingers could move, you have finger joints, you have elbow joints, knees, shoulders, every as intricate as you want to be, you could create that movement. For all the finger movements, the toes, the mouth, and the eyes and stuff like that. When you have a complete 3D model that is able to be moved by an animator, that is called rig. So the rig is essentially the starting point for performance.
Okay.
So we essentially got a full package of like Captain
Mhm.
America, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, all of them, and all we had to do was do the performance. So essentially, just manipulating the rigs to give movement and stuff like that. So maybe 7 or 8 minutes of full animation for them to put into the game. So yeah, that's right. It's just the only downside is that most people I talk to now, they don't even know what the hell Disney Infinity is because they discontinued the line after the third iteration. Like I think 3.0 was the last one.
Knowing that somebody from Trinidad could even reach to such a level to be able to work on something that I have no idea. Because when you see
Right.
Disney, you
Yeah.
think, okay, immediately the States. And to know that somebody from Trinidad was able to reach up to such a high level and work on that it could reach me. And I don't even know. That's like, is amazing. It's inspiration for us to keep working hard. So hopefully the things we create could hit other people in the country and affect them the same way.
That's all it's about, right? And that's the thing about like Chris coming back from the States, going to school with comic artists and stuff like that, being taught by guys in the industry. Guys who posters I have on my wall right now. Chris he's like, yeah, that was my teacher. But it's a big deal, right? It's like, when Chris was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, work on Ghost Rider and Cable, and he was like, yeah, it's whatever. But I was like, man, that is inspiration for me because you're right. We have trainees who out there doing stuff. There's a guy I went to school with, Sean S. Guy. He was an animator on like Transformers and stuff like that, the live action film. Winston Duke he was in Black Panther. And these are just regular men and women who grew up in Trinidad, liking the stuff that all of us like. But if you're willing to work hard and you're willing to hit a certain quality bar, then it really doesn't matter where you are, where you're from. If it's good, it's good, and that's the impetus behind Midnight Robber is that Chris was always adamant that this should look like any book that you pick up on a newsstand anywhere in the world. It shouldn't look and feel like just a Trinidadian. It should feel like a comic, and it's just about Trinidadian stuff.
And that was achieved to the highest degree possible because I'm very
Uh,
excited for the
I
next
mean,
issue.
listen, I tell you this: the writing is the easy part. I get my headaches all the way early. But all the other stuff, the magic on the page, man, that's Chris taking it from one level and taking it to the stratosphere.
No, the writing inspires what's on the page. Without the writing, just pictures. But the writing,
So would you all say that you all feed off of each other's creativity?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
for sure. Yeah, and I have the luxury of writing for my older brother. Like that's a big deal because like again, I know the stuff he likes. Like sometimes I would write stuff because I know he would enjoy drawing certain things.
Yeah, you're right. And then you're like, wait till Chris see why I put in here, boy.
Exactly.
Boy.
Yeah. And like sometimes it's a challenge. Like I would write something and I'll be like, I know he'll be like, what the hell is this when you read it? You know. And then sometimes, I know that he has, exposition. You had to have some pages with just people talking to each other, and that kind of sucks, right? But so what I try to do is like pay off with some other sequences that, you just be like, can't wait to get these pages done so I can work on this double page flash. You know what I mean? And that's fun. I mean, that's fun. Like that's the fun of the process, and it should be fun. Whoever wants to do comics or any other creative pursuit, like you should have fun with it. Otherwise, what's the point? Mm-hmm.
Agreed. You gotta enjoy what it is that you're doing. And because I must say, the scene with the fight between TNT, the Lagawhoo, and the Midnight Rubber, let me not even touch on the fact that TNT in of itself is an amazing creation. I don't know who idea TNT was, but having a superhero named TNT, amazing touch in the comic. But that fight scene between those three, especially when TNT pick up the flag, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was probably all Wendell. I'm not, I don't think I really had anything to do with that fight scene. I think if I did, I might have just said, we're just going to break stuff, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't remember. No, wait. I definitely know. Right. All right. The flag in the throat of the Lagawhoo, yeah, I think that was me. The rest of the stuff, I don't know who that was. Might have been all Wendell. So the Lagawhoo, TNT, and Robert fight. Was that you who wrote that? Because I don't think I came up with that fight.
Yeah,
the only thing I might have come up with was a flagpole through the throat of the Lagawhoo.
Yeah, that fight was something that I wrote, and that was exciting for me because we were able to do it like in downtown Port of Spain. Like that was, because Chris had done the sequence in book 2 with the whole bank robbery and going to the hollows and stuff like that. And I was like, well, all right, if you're doing that, then I want to do a big battle downtown Port of Spain. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where like there's like playful one-upmanship too, because it's like this is Trinidad is a canvas, and we could go anywhere we want, do anything we want. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and even that very corny joke with him swinging the lamp pole, and the rubber dematerializes and stuff. Yeah, that was all me. So the good and the bad in that sequence.
In latter issues now, y'all, we have scenes in the north of Trinidad.
Yeah, don't worry.
Some love
don't worry.
In the future.
Don't worry. It's coming.
Let me just... I believe it's 13 years now. You all have 3/4 in operation.
How long?
When you were first starting, were you nervous at all?
No. All right. So before 3/4, it was Electro Arc. So we did 1, 2, 3 books. 4 books probably under the Electro Arc thing. And nervous? No, not really, man. You just get the stuff done. No.
Yeah.
Because it really was just a hobby at the time. Really, even now, as far as, making money, that's really not the goal. That wasn't the goal. That wasn't why I started doing this,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I just did it for people to have something of their own, like Wendell said. Yeah,
I think because of the way we've always approached it as sort of it's a passion project that has lived on much longer than most passion projects do, right? It has become its own thing, and now there's like an actual fan base and stuff like that. But I think we just have always been too nerdy to be nervous about it. We just wanted to do cool shit. I mean, cool stuff. We just want to write stuff and draw stuff. Yeah,
that's a quality dream.
Here at the South Central Podcast, it's our dream to bring to you a show capable of delivering the same warmth and hospitality that embodies the spirit of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, while maintaining such a quality that regardless of where you are in the world, you can feel like you're a part of the show and share love for the culture. Now, unfortunately, we lost the last 5 minutes of this interview due to some unfortunate technical difficulties. However, to paraphrase the closing message to the fans of Mr. Riley, both Christopher and Wendell, stay consistent, always show up on time, and love what you do. Before ending this episode, I would like to say thanks to a few people.
Number 1, Miss Mira Shaw, whose donation of the first 2 issues and introduction to Mr. Riley started this entire thing. Without you, Mira, none of this would have been possible. As always, thank you for the support of the entire team, Mia, Tenja, Adrian, and Chris especially. And thank you to everyone out there supporting and streaming the South Central podcast. We have fans in India, US, Canada, Germany, Brazil, and Spain, streaming on the Ghana Music app, Amazon Music, Spotify, and iTunes. My name is Ron Austin, and this has been another episode of the South Central podcast.